pretty happy with how hard we played tonight. We had 45 deflections and 46 rebounds. Temple plays really hard. They rebound really well. They had 17 on us offensive last time. They had 19 on Memphis about a week ago offensive. They were getting at least 13 or 14 a game offensive in conference. So I thought our physicality was better. And once we were able to keep them off the backboard, that's the key against them. That, and I thought, Darren Savino had a great game plan. We changed some things from the last time we played them. We were a lot more aggressive in our on-the-ball defense and our pick-and-roll defense, which got us up in the bridle, so to speak, and took them out of their three-point shooting. And once we started scoring the ball, then you can get your pressure going, and it becomes a downhill. You start playing downhill. So, but I thought our effort, our toughness, and our physicality was great. I want to congratulate Gary Clark to be the 5th player in the history of the school over 100-something years of basketball with 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds. Unbelievable. It's an unbelievable feat. He's a winning player. He's probably the most valuable player in our league, in my opinion, because his scoring, his rebounding, his intangibles, his steals, his block shots, his field goal percentage. Like I said, his intangibles, his ability to guard big guys, his ability to guard switching and perimeter players. There's very few people. I'm sure there's more talented guys in the country. I've obviously seen Marvin Bagley play on TV, but Gary Clark is such a winning player. It's just a great feat. So tonight's his night, in my opinion. Anytime you did something at Cincinnati that Oscar Robertson did, you're doing something. And I think it was Paul Hogue, Jack Twyman, and Bob Miller. You accomplished something that Kenyon Martin wasn't able to accomplish, or Jason Maxiel. It's pretty impressive. Because those guys were unbelievable players. It tells you how hard it is to get 1,000 rebounds. So he's just been a great player for us for a long time.
Is that just a compliment to his consistency, being able to?
I think he's an underrated player. He's just other than amongst coaches. If you talk to coaches, especially the coaches in our conference, they all, Gary Clark's their favorite player. People that really know basketball. But coaches, see, we're paid to win games. So when you ask a coach about it, it's like, they see what that guy brings to the table. He makes no mistakes. He's just plus, 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 plus. If he makes a mistake, it's like it's like a meteor storm or something. It never happens. You're in shock. He's just such a good player in every aspect of the game. And coaches appreciate that more. Obviously, fans see guys getting 35 points and taking 30 shots. Gary's got 17 tonight on 7 shots. 10 rebounds in 26 minutes. So anytime you're getting those type of numbers. But I still think I'm watching, he's still getting better. He's a much better player than he was a year ago. And he continues to improve because he's got great work ethic, and he's like SK. He listens to everything the coaches say. Not when you're coaching him, that's easy. He listens when you're coaching other people because there's something for him to learn. Kenny Martin was that way, and that's why Gary's going to have a long career playing basketball.
Do you notice when you're caught up in the game? Did you notice the ovation the crowd gave him?
Yes.
What does that mean to you to hear that appreciation for him?
He deserves it. I was really happy about it. I was worried. I was hoping he was going to get it. I thought it was awesome. We had advertised it. Gresh helped us too. You did it. People knew that it was coming. That the milestone that he was going to hit. I thought it was probably our best crowd of the year tonight.
You mean energy-wise?
Yeah, I thought it was our loudest crowd of the year tonight. Now, I don't know if the 9 o'clock game helps with happy hour prices beforehand. You know, I'm sure Barley Corns did great business before this one.
What did Cumberland hurt? How is he?
His ankle, it'll be on the injury report.
Day to day, like
Ask me if he's
always.
gonna play Saturday. Gotta ask it, come on, I do my Belichick.
Will Jaron Cumberland play Saturday, Coach?
We'll put it on the injury report whenever that, then you gotta ask when that comes out.
I mean, it seemed like he sat there, he didn't get
His
back.
ankle, he said he could go back in, but there was no point in it. You know, once we were up 22, and I said, well, hold on, just sit here for a second. Once we pushed it to 30, I told him to go ahead, put some ice on it.
You got some minutes.
He's getting beat up a lot lately. But he's a guy that attacks the basket, you know, the way he attacks the basket as well as he's playing. You know, he was dominant in the first half. He had a great practice yesterday, too. He's really, you know, I don't judge. You see he's 1 for 6 from 3. His floor game is so much better. His defense, his passing, his focus, his understanding of basketball, he just continues to improve. But it's going to be a chore to keep him healthy as long as, because the way he attacks the basket all the time. You know, with his ankles and all, you know, all the stuff that can happen when you go down. It'll be an injury report.
You got some minutes for Ellie and Keith and
Well,
Trevor
Ellie's
tonight.
earning minutes. He screamed, "Play me" the other night when he set records of block shots per minute played. He did it in practice as well. And I thought his physicality and his fearless toughness was needed tonight against Temple. And I wrote myself, you know, I always write things down when the guys give me their stuff. And I, you know, on top of the paper, I've said, I need to play Ellie, you dummy.
You've talked about the two wings.
I need to play the guy. I mean, the guy's, he's our leading rebounder per minute played, which is saying a lot on the team with Gary Clark. So I had to write myself a note, so I'd read that before the game.
The two wings, how are you with their, you've talked about them being important. How are you?
About Trevor?
Trevor and Keith.
Just, you know, it's, I don't know how people do it, and the kids, they're coaching first round picks, but it's hard with freshmen. It depending on how much high school coaching they had in their fundamental level on the defensive end. And it gets harder as people think, you would think that with freshmen, a lot of it, I think the fallacy is that it gets easier because it gets harder later in the year because they've never had to practice this much. The games get harder, more physical, there's less mistakes, so it becomes harder on the younger player. It's a lot easier early in the year for a freshman. It's tougher on them as the year goes on, but just got to keep working with them. Mamadou's dealing with a little injury, but he's having some good practices. And that's it, it's late. See you guys.